So the 320 spoilers are here, and this chapter is thankfully what we expected it to be. So let's get into it. Title of the chapter is Deku versus Class A. Chapter starts and we see Ida with a serious expression, thinking about how stubborn Midoriya is. Bakugo reveals to Deku that they already know about his new quirks from the 4th, 5th, and 6th users. He also makes fun of his looks. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. I guess Bakugo got that information from the notes somehow, or maybe he was digging around behind the scenes. I don't know if he got this from All Might, because we didn't see him working with All Might behind the scenes. Also, still no update on All Might, by the way. He may or may not have been killed by Stain, but I also like that he's like making fun of his disheveled villain look right now. Deku thanks them for looking for him and activates Smokescreen to run away, which Ochako recognizes as the 6th quirk. So I think this is what most of us expected Izuku would do. I mean, throughout this arc, this is kind of like been his thing. Smokescreen, get out of there. It's kind of like the Batman exit, just with a few more steps. Bakugo reacts with his own new move, Shockwave Landmine, to clear the fog and resumes saying that Deku now sees everyone else as secondary since he is stronger. Okay, so I'm really liking this. New move from Bakugo is always nice, but just the fact that he's instantly taking that option off the table for Izuku here. Like, nope, you're not getting away that easily. Like, you're gonna have to deal with us here. And also the fact that they came prepared since they're aware of what his new quirks are, at least for the most part. Even Uraraka is aware of what's going on here. Koda sends many pigeons his way and yells that Nezu gave his approval so he can come back to UA. But first, this video is sponsored by Busuu. So have you ever been held back from enjoying anime or manga because you didn't understand Japanese? Yeah, me too. I remember we had to wait months to be able to watch the My Hero Academia and Demon Slayer movies simply because it just took that long for the English versions to be released. Not to mention all of the raw manga that comes out annually that sometimes we even have to wait weeks for it to be translated. Well, now we can finally take matters into our own hands with the help of Busuu. And that's because Busuu is a language learning platform on the web, iOS, and Android, and it currently offers 12 language courses, and one of them, of course, is Japanese. So when you open the app, it asks you what language you would like to learn, and I'm going to pick Japanese. Then it'll ask for some basic information, and you're eventually going to get to the 14-day free trial. And given that we're just beginners, it's going to be basic stuff, such as how to say hello. Konnichiwa. Now, as you go through the lessons, it's going to give you mini quizzes as well, and I really like this feature because it personally helps me gain a better understanding of things. Another thing that I really like about this app is if you click on the language that you're learning in the top left-hand corner, it'll give you more learning options, and one of them is Japanese for travel. I'm going to be taking a trip to Japan next year, and I will certainly be using this feature. So yeah, if you're finally ready to learn Japanese and get a better understanding of anime and manga, please check out Busuu. Links will be in the description. Thanks, guys. So in the previous chapter, Class 1A like orchestrated this meeting with Endeavor and Nezu, and in that meeting, Nezu pretty much said what Koda did. He gave his approval to bring Izuku back to UA, and that was like the final motivation that Class 1A needed. But also, it's like, just because Nezu said that doesn't mean that Izuku is going to be like, oh, well, if Nezu said it, well, I guess I'm coming back now, guys. Deku keeps saying he is sorry as he uses Black Whip to move away. But Sero stops him by using his tape on it. He then tells Deku he was prepared for the quirk since he knows it. A flashback of them training together is shown. So I really like this, Sero getting his revenge on Black Whip, a quirk that has just completely overshadowed his character in this series. But we also know that they had like trained together before this, at least in some flashbacks that we saw during the war arc. He was also training with Uraraka, Tsuyu, and Bakugo at that time. While midair, Jiro appears and attacks with her new move called Heartbeat Wall. She says that even though he may not remember anymore, his advice during the cultural festival was very useful and made her happy. So Izuku is probably not the only one who doesn't remember that, because I myself don't remember what she's talking about here, but then again, I think I only read the cultural festival maybe once. But also, this is going to be like a recurring thing in this chapter. Like, a lot of Class 1A is going to have like their moment with Izuku, and then they're going to be like, hey, remember when we had that one other moment in the series? Midoriya keeps running until Ojiro grabs him with his tornado tail dance. He asks him if he remembers during the sports festival when he got mad because of his fight against Shinso, and says that he can't accept that Midoriya is the only one getting hurt. So yeah, like I said, this is like, hey, remember that one moment that we had? Deku states that while he is being pursued, everyone around him is in danger, as he remembers what happened to Aizawa, Gran Torino, and Bakugo when they fought Shigaraki. They basically all got maimed to some degree. With a villainous look on his face and sheer strength, he escapes once again. So yeah, the recurring theme in this arc is Izuku, the unintentional aesthetic villain. Before Deku can run away, Tokoyami pulls him into a building. Sato grabs Ojiro and Jiro in midair and screams to Deku that he won't help him with the candy apples to Eri anymore if he continues to run from them. Deku mutters to himself that Eri will be alright, even if he's not around. Then he's taken by surprise by a machine created by Momo. It was supposed to make him sleep, but Deku destroys it before the effect kicks in. Izuku even disregarding Eri here, which is pretty big. I mean, disregarding for Izuku, I'll say. I mean, it's not like he's full-blown just saying, screw her! Kaminari shoulder hugs Deku to prevent him from escaping, questioning him about One For All being the only thing he thinks is important. Even if their hobbies are different, Kaminari still considers himself friends, and he wants Deku to count on it. Shoji takes the opportunity and covers the two of them with a special tape created by Momo. Tokoyami then uses his new technique, Dark Shadow Ragnarok, Tai, which means womb, and locks the two of them on a sphere of shadow. Tokoyami comments that the idea of using Dark Shadow in a defensive way came from Deku himself during the Calvary battle at the sports festival. Kaminari is still holding Deku inside of the Shadow Orb and asks him to take a bath as soon as possible. Deku breaks free while screaming, destroying a big portion of the building they were in. Tokoyami is impressed to see Dark Shadow Ragnarok being overpowered. So this is a pretty cool scene. As described, like there's this big black orb, which is basically just containing Izuku. But of course, he's just too powerful for him, breaks out of it. Deku's mask falls off and we see him holding back tears. He says that he knows his friends are genuinely worried about him to a point that Danger Sense hasn't been activated even once during this fight. That's pretty cool and makes sense to me because it's called Danger Sense, and these are his friends, so they're not really like a danger to him. But he needs them to understand that he's okay and has to keep doing this on his own. Shoto stops Deku using his heaven-piercing ice wall. He asks Deku if his burden doesn't even allow him to cry like a normal person. He says that Deku should share his burden with all of them. So this is cool. I've been waiting for Shoto to have another moment with Izuku here like this. Tsuyu is next to him, saying that she won't let Deku get away, and she's tired of crying while feeling helpless. Her friends should be allowed to tremble when they're in fear and cry when they're in pain. If Deku's plan is to become a superhero like those in the comics, Class A will be by his side, turning fiction into reality. So I guess this is the end of the chapter, although it's not being stated in the spoilers here that it is. I couldn't find anything more to the summaries or anything, so forgive me if there is more to this chapter that I'm not mentioning in this video. But please subscribe, because on Fridays I do follow-up videos once the full fans translations are released by TCB. But yeah, this chapter seems like it's going to be great, and I've just been waiting for Izuku to take on Class 1A. Even if it's not like a full-blown fight, it's just, you know, them trying to stop him from leaving. It's still pretty satisfying. But let me know what you think about this chapter in the comments. If you liked the video, guys, please give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.